There's a moment that comes to most people around 65. You're sitting somewhere quiet, maybe alone, maybe with someone you love, and you realize I spent 40 years on the wrong things, not catastrophically wrong, not in a way that makes your life invalid, but wrong. Let me start with the lesson that matters most. Lesson 1. Time is your only real currency. Money comes back, opportunity comes around again, but time never does. And yet most of us spend time like it's infinite. We say yes to things that don't matter. We spend hours on things that drain us. We defer the important. I know a man named David who spent his 50s catastrophizing. He was worried about retirement, worried he wouldn't have enough money, worried the economy would collapse, worried he'd made bad investments. He spent hours researching, hours worrying, hours running scenarios in his head. And at 64, he sat down and actually did the math. And he realized, I have enough. Now let me tell you 3 more lessons that shift everything. Lesson 4. You're not your job. You're not your achievements. You're not what you own. This sounds obvious, but most people don't actually believe it and she'd get there. She'd hit the goal, make partner, buy the house, take the trip, and the happiness would last a week, maybe 2. Then the old restlessness came back, the sense that something was missing. At 61, after a health scare, she started doing something different. Every morning, before she checked her phone, before she looked at email, she sat with a note. Lesson 7. Your body is not a project. It's a companion. Most of us spend our first 50 years treating the body like something to whip into shape, fix, punish, sculpt, control. We talk about it the way we'd never talk about a friend. Too fat, too old, too slow, not good enough. And then, one day, it betrays you. Or at least that's what it feels like. The knees start to hurt. The weight doesn't move like it used to. The skin changes. The energy shifts. And you think, my body is failing me. But what if it isn't? What if the body is just telling you the truth? That you can't push it the way you used to, that it needs rest, gentleness, nourishment, that it has carried you without thanks through accidents, illnesses, pregnancies, sleepless nights, bad decisions. I know a man named Frank, 71, who hated his body his whole life, too short, too heavy, not athletic enough. You probably grew up with the idea that loving people means sacrificing for them, giving up your dreams for your kids, your time for your spouse, your needs for your parents. And yes, love sometimes looks like sacrifice, but here's what people realize late in life. The thing their children, partners, and friends remember most is not what was sacrificed. It's whether they felt seen. A woman named Linda told me this at 72. Lesson 13. You will talk to yourself more than anyone else in your life. Choose the tone. If someone followed you around saying out loud what you say to yourself in your head, would you stay friends with them? Most people my age admit the answer is no. You're so stupid. You always mess things up. Of course they don't call you back. We say things to ourselves we would never say to a child, or a friend, or even a stranger. And we think it doesn't matter because it's just inside. But here's what people realize later. The voice in your head becomes the climate of your life. You live inside that weather. I knew a woman named Anne who, at 60, realized she'd never said a kind word to herself without following it with a criticism. I did well on that project, but I should have done it sooner. If you're still here with me, listening, nodding at some parts, resisting others. That already tells me something about you. It tells me you're not sleepwalking through this stage of life. You're paying attention. And I want to invite you to keep walking this camino conmigo. If you're here at this point in the video, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to this channel. Not as a vanity metric, but so we can keep having converses come up. I want you to imagine something very simple. Tomorrow morning, you wake up. Before you reach for your phone, before you remember your to-do list, before you put your feet on the floor, you pause. You put one hand on your chest and you ask yourself one quiet question. If today were one of the days I look back on at the very end, how would I want to live it? Not your whole life, not the next decade, just today. Maybe the answer is small. I'd actually taste my coffee. I'd call my sister and listen, really listen. I'd take my walk without headphones.